Here we go. Here we go. So before we get this diet going again, before the reincarnation takes place, I feel like I need to go over my baselines one more time. So nutrition and supplementation, we'll go over that, what that looks like, the training and the cardio. And then we're going to go over the, what is it that we're aiming for? Like, why are we doing this, right? We're going to go over probable shows that we might do. So 4 days a week, 2,495 calories, 40 grams of fat, 325 grams of carbs, 220 grams of protein. We'll do this for 4 consecutive days. So for 4 consecutive days, we'll be digging, trying to get some fat off this body. And then finally, for 3 days, 3 consecutive days, we'll pull back, recharge the batteries, 40 grams of fat, 575 grams of carbs, 220 grams of protein, 3,540 calories. And this will take place for 3 consecutive days. Rinse and repeat. We will do this for a while until we look right. So that's nutrition. When it comes to the supplementation, my 1 a day, my Nature's Made 1 a day, that's my exact vitamin. I take 1 of those a day. My Ultimate Omega with D3, I take 3 of those a day. Everything else goes through De Novo simply because they are the only company that I trust, especially when it comes to my contest prep. So especially with as much weight as I do have, I like to know that there's no errors in regards to like what's actually in the way. So yeah, cardio, 10 miles of walking a week. I like it because it actually gets me to leave the house. That is what the split looks like. We'll go into the training in more detail next time, but this is what the week looks like. In regards to the fat loss cycle long term, 6 weeks of fat loss and then a 10-day diet break, rinse and repeat. We will do that until we look right, and then we will start looking for shows, and then we'll start looking for parties. But first we got to look right, and I have a feeling that by the later parts of August I'll kind of start to look okay. But yeah, that's the plan. So this is what we're starting. This is what we're starting with in a week and a half. This past week was a little different, so I want to share that with you guys. So just some random footage, and then we're going to go over a few other details that I do want to go over before we continue on with this journal. Okay, we're here at Pikes Peak on the way to the airport, boarding our plane, going to the loo, get our hair braided, check out Nelly. That's what we do. You're gonna run out of things to do.
What?
You're gonna run out of things to do. You did that, you did the eyebrow.
Exit here for all vehicles.
That's it? That's it.
That's all I got.
I feel a lot better than mine. It feels good.
You know how much rain is flooding and stuff?
No, and it hasn't snowed once at the beginning of this winter. And last winter was the same thing.
I hate cold. I hate snow. God. That was
You're
fun.
from the south?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Now you would call Colorado.
What's up, YouTube? Did I do it right?
what's up, YouTube?
Why? How you doing, YouTube? That's more Filipino, I think. All right.
It's the worst accent I've ever heard.
What's up, YouTube? How you doing?
All right, we gotta go.
All right, we just got here. We're gonna go train because that's the first thing we do upon arrival. Yeah, St. Louis is flooding. Like, I've never seen the Mississippi River like that before. Like, dude, it was about to come over and just swallow everyone up. But the show must go on. Everyone seems to have made it here safely. So this is day 1 of the Physique Summit. And, oh, dude, let me show you guys Gorman's wheels. There goes Gorman. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Dude, it camouflages.
Does that?
No. All right, let's go work out. If you know where I could get some creatine around here, you know, you got a creatine dealer in St. Louis. Natural bodybuilder problems, you know.
Do you really want some?
No, I'm playing. This is where we went to go shop. We were at Schnucks. You remember that show, Cliff?
Which one was that?
The 2008.
Oh, 2008, yes.
Yeah.
Everybody was at that show.
Everybody was at that show.
And
if there ever is a movie on this, like there's a scene takes place there.
I was just a fly on the wall watching everybody. There were more people too that I didn't know who they were.
Here we go. I am such a bad, I'm a bad YouTuber, but I'm a pretty damn good bodybuilder, and this week kind of reminded me of that. So when I'm traveling and I have to make do with what's there, I'm pretty good at making it happen. I'll figure out the food, I'll figure out a way to train. Like for example, this pumpy hotel room training session, no issue. I'm really pliable at this point, and I can just make it happen. Whereas with the YouTube thing, man, I forgot my battery at home. Not my battery, I forgot my charger, and because of that, I didn't realize it until after the session. It's like, dude, you just recorded like this boring pumpy session, and now you have very little juice left for what you came here to do. So I was a little upset about that one. For those of you guys who don't know, I was at the Physique Summit. I was at the Physique Summit in St. Louis, put on by both John Gorman and Cliff Wilson, along with the help from the people at First Form. So the event was great. The speakers they picked were awesome, and also just, of course, the crowd is a big part of what makes these things go, and the attendees were superb. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. We do have some snippets of that at the end, but again, it made me realize that, dude, like, first of all, you need to have a second battery. I know that one itself is a big mistake when traveling with the camera, and especially when you're going to use a camera quite a bit in one day's time. So I'm learning, I'm figuring it out. I was able to get this day, and this day, even though I was kind of just improvising training, doing what I could with what I had there, I realized that, man, you're getting a pretty good pump from like all the eating you have been doing the last few days. Let's see what we look like, and I was really pleased. So this little break from the diet, I think, was a good idea. A lot of new hard spots have shown up, and I think a lot of that just has to do with the added fullness from the extra eating, and then also just the readjustments to the workload. So I haven't changed too much in regards to the amount of volume that I am doing for the body parts that I wanted to give a chance to breathe and catch up. I'd say that the increase in volume is maybe a 15 to maybe 20% increase for those body parts. But the biggest thing that has changed is that now that I am running an upper lower split, by the time I do get to those body parts that are just chronically just trouble areas for me, I'm still in a progressive state of mind. So my focus is still like really there, and that's important. But then also, like physically, I'm not as fatigued by the time I get to my triceps, by the time I get to my my delts. So they're coming back, and I was very pleased with the way I looked on this day, to the point where I was like tempted, like, hey, let's just like restart this thing already. But I remembered why I did this, and I went back to a moment in time where I was not overcome with acute emotion, and we're gonna go with that dude's plan as opposed to the guy who's like living in this moment right here, and acknowledging the fact that, hey, things aren't too off. So back I was super pleased with, and that's just all the CO rowing we did this off season, all the work that we did to try to bring up that body part so that we don't look like we're performing a back rib spread when we're up there on that stage. So I was very pleased with the back, but I think what really made me feel better is just the fact that the shoulders have seemed to come back to where I thought they should be, and then also arms are on the way back as well. So I'm super excited to just finish off this I guess this little break, this little it's not even a diet break because we're not at maintenance, we're like overeating just by a smidge. So yeah, things are looking really good. I am pleased, and I think another week and a half and it will be confirmed to me that, yeah, not only was it a good decision to do this, to take a break to try to regenerate a few things, but also the fact that when you were in St. Louis, you had a decent pump, you saw yourself in the mirror and you wanted to stop it there. Be glad you didn't, because there was still another surge waiting for you after that. So yeah, a big part of a contest prep or having or being a successful dieter, when you are working with that sort of deadline, that sort of goal, is just slowing things down in your head, so that you make the best decisions. And of course, if you have a coach, that's going to help you tremendously. However, I do feel that, there's all these little micro decisions that you make outside of your interactions with your coach that are super important as well. And again, like little things like, hey, not going back to that cupboard and getting a little extra food, a negative self-talk that you need to catch, things like that. It's important that you slow things down and really get a feel for being more, I guess, emotionally honest / aware with your day-to-day behavior, which can change so much during a prep. So first person you saw was John Gorman. This was Cliff Wilson. John Meadows was there. Jason Theobald was there as well. Lauren Conlon was there as well. All the first form peeps were there as well. It was again, like, I think this is, out of all the speaking arrangements I've had in the last few years, this is definitely one of my favorites. I think simply because of mostly the training age, or what I estimated to be the training age of a lot of the people here. They were perhaps a bit newer to a lot of them, not everyone. A lot of them were a bit newer than what I'm used to. But I think what this did is it exposed them to some really good people early on, and I feel that that is super important, because I think I was very fortunate in regards to my first contacts, my first influences within the fitness world. I mean, I couldn't have planned them any better, to be quite honest. Looking back now, it's like, dude, you were so fortunate. So I'm glad that maybe for a lot of these people here who weren't familiar with a lot of the names of the speakers and what they did, I think perhaps we might have exposed them to people who I feel are not only really good at what they do, but a lot of the folks here have been around for a while, and they've been around for a while for a reason. And I think, again, going back to something that's often overlooked is just sustainability, and being able to do this for a long time so that you can rack up a lot of points. And that's something that I can say about many of the speakers here. And I guess the one who's been here, who hasn't, I guess, been involved in fitness as long as is Lauren right now, who's speaking, and her whole discussion was based around sustainability and the long term. So again, it was a awesome event. I certainly recommend that if you have a chance, like I think this is probably in some ways, actually no, it clearly, to me it's probably worth going to more, especially if you're a physique competitor. I think the Physique Summit is probably something that I would recommend over the experience that you might get at an Olympia or an Arnold. So that's what I did this week. I didn't get to record myself speaking, but the presentation went quite well. I talked about gaining and learning to commit to longer off seasons and why you should and how you manage that. So that was my piece. But yeah, so kind of a different weekend this week. We have this half of this week, whatever's left of this week, and then the next week to just continue eating and then trying to, again, like, revive those body parts that I was not too happy with. And then we're going to go back into dieting, and we have about 12 to 13 pounds to go. So that is what I have for you guys. I hope now that I took the time to really I think, clearly address what it is that we're doing and how we're going to get there, that yeah, it makes it easier to follow. And more or less, when I make an adjustment, when I change this, change that, you at least know where my starting point is. And yeah, again, like, the goal is to leave footprints so that you guys can go back, maybe when you're prepping, or yeah, maybe if you're not prepping this year, if you're prepping next year, you can go back and kind of go through a lot of not just the highlights and how we did something crafty to maneuver through them, but a lot of the lowlights, and just kind of find some peace in that. Yeah, it happens to everyone, but a big part is how you respond. And again, slowing things down in your mind and making sure that you stay as objective as possible, especially during a contest prep, when you're just a bunch of different things over the course of one day, especially when it gets really, really difficult. So yeah, I think that is it for me. I'm going to leave it here. Next week will be a bit more normal, more training footage with actual weights, and we will go from there. But yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate all the support, and per usual, comments, suggestions, throw them at me. I'd love to hear those.